Yo, what's up? What's up, people? We're doing a little debate review. I found this one really interesting, actually. I'm not going to say who I think won, but all I'm saying is we saw a lot of this. That's all I'm going to say on that front. We saw a lot of that. So, just sip on my tea. If my drinking's too loud, why? Just watch the debate between the two and the guy. Why? Why what? Why do a review? Or what? What's the question? I don't understand, Kieran. I actually find these really fun to do. The only regret is I don't have the articles in front of me that I want to review. Um, but in terms of like counter stuff, but I can just Google those as the thing goes on. So there's that. Um, so yeah, this honestly is hilarious. Wait, on tough chat or their chat. If there's anything interesting or out to my weird watching habits on YouTube, the answer is no. No, just football stuff. All right. So yeah, we'll give it a minute or two. We'll start. Graham is an actual out and out cretin. I don't understand why even debate. Yeah, I mean to be fair, there is a benefit to it. There is a benefit to it in respect of you can call him out and stuff. That's why, and he looks stupid. There was, you know what? Whilst we're here, actually, I did see. There was a Phil clip on Talk About where he makes a lot of nonsensical points, as per usual. He talks about like he compares Reform UK people to like Corbynites, saying something lines of, "Oh, they were just waiting for the Tories to collapse, and they would just walk in." There's only so many times, yeah, in this world where you can debate someone and just look like a clear winner, and when they're absolute frauds, it's so much easier because you can just pick them out on stuff. Like if you don't have any principles, then you shouldn't debate people because you'll get beaten up. Like it will not end well. Um, like this is the kind of stuff you can do. I'm just gonna make the street. Yeah, catch up so I can see when my things are playing and when they're not. So yeah, we'll be playing. Yeah. So anyways, this will be the last stream whilst I'm at home. I'm gonna go away next week to see my friend. For the week. But I do have a laptop now, so I can. There'll be more mobile content hopefully. I'm still waiting on someone to come back to me regarding an interview kind of thing. Um, I'm not sure if that's going to fall through or not, so I'm hoping that works out. But yeah, if you guys are happy, I'll probably start on the video now because I've been waffling for about 5 minutes. So let's just get started on this.
I thought I'd have you on today to
If my drinking tea and stuff's too loud, yeah, just let me know.
talk about. So you've obviously been making videos and stuff this week, and you've been talking about your desire to have a hung parliament. So do you want to tell us a little bit about your thinking behind this?
So my thinking is that the UK is screwed. And
Oh, Talk TV, Graham. I don't even know who the hell that is. Nah, forget those guys. Those guys are TFGs. They're too far gone. Like, don't bother with them. I'd only do it for the meme value, and then I would I would just play loads of like random clips whilst they're talking to kind of take away the boredom of having to listen to them, stuff like this. Which you might see actually during this debate, but let's just start with. Let's go with this.
until we get a new voting system. Because under our current system, if you look at every single election that we've had since the Second World War, the majority of votes have gone to parties to the left of the Conservatives, apart from in 3 elections. So we're talking the Lib Dems, the SNP, the Greens, and Labour. They've had the majority of the vote share, and yet
I think that's actually true for the most part. The Tories rarely win over 50% of the vote share.
Tories have been in power for 39 of the last 73 years. So we consistently have governments that are more right-wing than the actual people. Every policy you can think of that's been right-wing in the last lifetime has been because our voting system gives power to parties that are more right-wing than the people.
Yeah, Graham's are not having a good run out in the media, I'll be honest.
Now, the Labour Party's members want a new voting system. They want proportional representation, but Keir Starmer is against it. He said it's not a priority. He's You had Angela Rayner saying that she doesn't want it. I can't remember the reason. I think she was talking about the constituency link. Jess Phillips says she doesn't want it as well. So the Labour Party's leadership isn't where we need them to be. However,
stings, doesn't it?
it is in the interest of other parties, such as Lib Dems, the Greens, and the SNP says they want it as well, to get
yeah, I think it would depend on how their system is set up, because if they do super constituencies and they just kind of do it by kind of nation or whatever you want to call it, then it would be alright for them. If they do it like a full thing, it'd be a bit weird.
Voting system where all votes count equally, because right now Labour votes are worth more in terms of seat share than Lib Dem votes, and definitely more than Green votes. So if there was a hung parliament rather than a total Labour majority, then at least those parties would be part of government and be able to pull the strings of Labour and say, hey, if you want a functional government, you need to give us a fair voting system.
Okay, so I mean, from my point of view, the reason why Starmer and Jess Phillips and Angela Rayner and other MPs are saying no to proportional representation now is not because they're against it as an idea. It's because it's not what people are saying on the doorsteps.
So there's no evidence for him to actually say that. There's no source. There's no fact base. How does he know what they think? They've told you they don't believe in it, right? And so what he's doing is...
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Because there's no evidence for him to say that. He's saying what they are saying is not what they believe. And again, what's his evidence for that? He doesn't have any.
They're knocking on the door. They're more concerned about the cost of living, the fact that our food and drink prices are just about to go through the roof because of Brexit, and the fact that the Tories have been doing an absolute number on our economy for the last 14 years. So are you not...
So apart from Labour kind of pushing certain policies, they're not going to do much on Brexit, let's be honest now. How are Labour going to fix these issues if these are the core problems that people are facing?
Willing to give Labour the benefit of the doubt in this case?
Why would you ever give a political party the benefit of the doubt? It makes zero sense to do that. It makes no sense to give a political party the benefit of the doubt. Would you have said this in 2010 with the Conservative Party? Oh, they're not going to do, it's not going to be that bad. Should we give them the benefit of the doubt, etc.? Like, this is genuinely the highest levels of stupidity right here.
They get elected and then we can push for voter reform, or do you want it in this manifesto that's coming up in this election?
So let's do two things. There's the doorstep issue. In fact, Jess Phillips did say that to me. She said that it doesn't come up on the doorstep. Because what comes up on the doorstep is the cost of living. I'm sorry, pretending like the cost of living and the voting system aren't two completely intertwined issues is just nonsense. Because if you look at the polls show that the clear majority of the people believe we should be taxing the rich more, we should be redistributing wealth, we should be increasing benefits in line with inflation, all good left-wing policies that would seriously help with the cost of living crisis, yet we have a voting system that gives power to people that want the exact opposite.
That's facts. Also the fact that, people can't vote for who they want. That's one of the other problems we have. So people are stuck with parties that are kind of in the centre, that are in the centre because they don't get what they want, because we don't have proportional representation. So again, Femi's absolutely cooking here.
Of that, I think it was 63% of Tory members are against the idea of spending money to redistribute wealth to help people who are poor. Now, that is a clear link. If we had a fair voting system, then you would have parties in power that are in favour of doing things that would help with the cost of living crisis. So to pretend that it's not coming up on the door, it is coming up on the door. They're just saying it in a different way. They're talking about the symptom, not the cause. The cause is the voting system. As for, do I trust Labour to just do the right things when they get into power, that opens a whole discussion. The problem is, there's a song which actually comes to mind with this. It's this guy who doesn't want to tell the woman that he's seeing how he feels, and so he often tells her that he doesn't love her as much as he actually does. And so
I hate when people do this. Just stop doing this nonsense. If you're not sure of the example, maybe do I do this? I think I do this as well. I should probably stop. But yeah, don't do stuff like this, people. Don't come up with the weird niche examples that don't make sense.
I know you understand.
The audience does not understand.
The name of the song is "Trust Me, I Lied." I trust that I'm dishonest, and that's what I feel every time somebody says, trust Labour to do the right thing.
And this is what Boris Johnson asked. He asked for the benefit of the doubt when it came to Brexit. When it came to Brexit, he said, look, you just believe in the process, all of this kind of stuff, right? And what happened to the people that gave Boris Johnson the benefit of the doubt? They got pantsed. They got embarrassed. So why should anyone give politicians the benefit of the doubt? Genuinely one of the most absurd statements. Literally an industry, based on lies. That's what politicians do. That's what they do for the most part, lie. Why would we trust them? It makes no sense. Honestly, when they don't get what they want, they're gonna be so upset, and I'm just gonna be like,
Hey, I'm not surprised.
honestly.
When they get into power, when they've been saying they'll do the exact opposite of that for the last 4 years. So the whole idea is that we're supposed to trust him because he's been dishonest with us, which I find mind-blowing.
Okay, but that's one guy. Like, Labour's not a dictatorship. And one of the things that Keir Starmer came up against as soon as he became leader was that you've got the shadow cabinet, which will hopefully be the cabinet soon, got the members, and you've also got the unions to keep on board.
Okay, the members wanted policies, it got rejected. The unions wanted policies, they got rejected. The shadow cabinet, I'm not sure what policies they wanted, but some of them have left over certain votes. So the argument that these people can sway Starmer is garbage.
We don't have a presidential system, You're not in till the end of your term. You're in till your MPs say it's time to go. So
Okay, cool. So at that point, if these people have argued that Liz Truss didn't have a mandate because she never was elected by, she wasn't leader of the party during the election or whatever they want to phrase it, right? And then they argue Rishi Sunak also has no mandate. How can they then argue any Labour leader who comes in after Starmer, who doesn't win a general election, has any mandate? This is a level of galaxy brain we are dealing with here, people. This is genuinely derangement. And I'm sure these people have argued that Sunak has no mandate, Liz Truss has no mandate. So how can you now argue, we don't live in a presidential system? Wow. One of the dumbest arguments I've ever heard in my life.
Ugh. Brother, ugh. What's that?
Honestly.
pisses off his own MPs, and a lot of Labour MPs want voting reform. The membership voted for voting reform in 2022 at the conference. The unions voted for it.
You've made the point for us. You have made the point for us. You're smoking yourself at this point.
So I think from talking to Labour MPs and gleaning what their take is on this, it's like we need to just get into power now, and when we're in power, we can put this onto the manifesto probably for the 2029.
That's speculation. That's pure speculation.
My sources that I made it the fuck up.
That's pure speculation. Even if some of them did want it, even if the majority of MPs did want it, right? All Starmer will do is come back and say, well, this is not an election-winning policy. Just focus on what's going to win you the election. That would literally what they've done now, because they'll learn all the wrong lessons from this election victory. So that's genuinely just another galaxy brain point.
Election, and people can vote on it if they want voter reform, and by then,
what incentive, if you come in on a stonking majority, which Starmer's predicted to get right, a huge majority, what incentive do you have for voter reform? Why would you want to give up power? Honestly. Why would you say, do you know what, right? I won a majority of, say, 45% of the vote share. A stinking majority, right? Huge. If I win 45% of the vote share again, I don't have that majority anymore. Which boggles the mind, guys.
and I think we'll have more breathing space, hopefully, fingers crossed, to actually discuss this kind of thing. Because you're right, like, people do want things to get better, and I agree with you completely that voting reform is a way of doing that, but you've got to understand, like, most people don't care about politics, and then political systems is like another layer below that. You see people glazing over when you talk about it, because they're like, I don't care.
No, sure, it depends on how you phrase it to them. You have to try and explain to them, you have to level with the voters to an extent. And if that's the case, cool. Like, you should get rid of, when you talk about joining the EU and whatever, do normally voters care about that? No. They want Brexit to be done. It's one of the reasons why Boris Johnson won. So you constantly talking about and moaning about the EU stuff, that's not going to win votes for normie voters. Why do you keep mentioning it? It's just, wow, it's just so dumb.
So as for people not, you've heard me say before that when I go to schools and I ask people if they care about politics, then no hands will go up. But then when I say, do you care about how much stuff costs in the shops? whether they get treated in the NHS,
Yeah.
whether they can get a job. They say all the hands go up because people do care about politics, especially.
Blair did say he was going to bring in PR and he didn't. I wonder why. Is it because he came in on a stonking majority? Is that why? I wonder.
Gen Z, they're talking about all the stuff that we call culture wars in capital E politics, but it is politics. As for Labour not being a
Remember, guys, to hit the like button as well. It does help the stream and the algorithm and all the nonsense.
dictatorship, the problem is I don't trust Labour to not act like a dictatorship. I mean, you and I have been in the trenches for a very long time together, and we were there when we watched Labour members vote time and time again to say, give us a second referendum, but Corbyn opposed it up until about 4 months before the election, and then tried to run an election on a policy he'd spent 3 years saying we shouldn't do.
They don't want to push for PR now. They want PR, but they're willing to wait on it.
And now we've got Keir Starmer.
Also, that their policy was to go on doorsteps and say, we were terrible last time. We were the worst government ever. I mean, under Blair, oh my God, I bleed tears of blood out my eyes just thinking about it. But we'll be really good if you vote us in now. And I'm like, that is. You're trying to make a sequel.
Yeah,
to
that's dumb. People who did this kind of stuff are dumb. Like they should never have done that.
a film, and you're like, I know the last one was.
But again, he's waffling here because it's not relevant. This stuff is not relevant to what they're discussing.
Bloody awful, but can have some money to make another one. You're like, what kind of pitch is that? Anyway, we're not going to go.
To be fair, Hollywood do that all the time, so that's a really bad example. Maybe I'm nitpicking a bit.
We're not going to go back over old territory. But yeah, I think that at the moment,
Mithril with the super chat, Mandelson will never allow PR. He fundamentally despises the working class. I don't know about that, but isn't Mandelson? I'm going to be careful with what I say here, but isn't Mandelson? Doesn't Mandelson have some bizarre connections with some really, really bizarre people? I'm not going to say more than that, but some of his friends or people he's been pictured with, bit sus those people, and some people don't want to talk about that.
Stinks, doesn't it?
So yeah, Mithril, thanks for the super chat.
My point of view, the absolute, I don't know, you've pitted it as sort of there's two camps, isn't there? You can't trust Labour, and Labour must win because we need the Tories destroying, and I'm very much on the Tories.
Allegedly, I'm saying no more on that stuff. Graham is telling voters that their job is to strategise on behalf of Starmer's Labour. Yeah, you might as well just tell them you do the strategy and make sure it happens as well. If these are the policies you want, make sure you force through these policies that won't be on the manifesto. Yeah, Phil does the same, and Graham here is going to use a lot of the arguments Phil uses. A lot of the bad arguments Phil can manage to spin and gish gallop and waffle on about, but Graham Hughes is not as smooth an operator as Phil. Not even close.
Destruction side of things, because I think after 14 years of what they've done to this country, the performative cruelty, the absolute sadism.
Thanks for the super chat, Roisin. There's no message on it, but I appreciate it all the same.
That they have displayed, they are not worthy of being a political party in the United Kingdom.
That's true. That is not. That's not the voters' role. I would argue the majority of times it's not the voters who fail politicians, it's the politicians who fail voters. Even under Corbyn, that 2019 election, I wouldn't argue it was the voters that let him down. He let himself down for a lot of different reasons, honestly.
Taken out, simple as that. But at the same time, I don't want it to be no effective opposition. And obviously there's a happy medium to be found there. Perhaps if the Lib Dems become the...
All I'm going to say is, right, did the membership and all of the kind of affiliated Labour groups back the Iraq War, and did it still happen? That's all I'm going to say on this idea. They can push Labour to the left. That's all I'm going to say on that point.
Position.
Right now.
It could happen, it probably won't, but if it could happen. But what you were talking about earlier, 15 years of what they've done to this country, the performative cruelty, the absolute sadism that they have displayed, they are not worthy of being a political party in the United Kingdom. And I want them taken out.
Who are we or you to decide who is worthy to be a political party in this country? Like, genuinely, if the Conservative Party push policies that people in this country seem to want enough of, then who are you to say that? Honestly, like, you're putting up the UK on some sort of glorious pedestal here. Like, no, like, it's not how it works, genuinely. that Iraq war demo was huge. It was, I think, still the biggest protest on record. Thank you, Scribby, for the super chat. There's no message attached, but I appreciate it. Thanks, mate. So this argument here, bizarre world, Labour will never bring in any form of PR as a facilitate Labour splitting in different parties. Yeah, chatty. The only reason they would do it is if they're forced to by a coalition. That's the only way.
Simple as that. But at the same time, I don't want it to be no effective opposition. And obviously there's a happy medium to be found there. Perhaps if the Lib Dems become the opposition, which could happen, it probably won't, but if it could happen. But what you were talking about...
That's one of Phil's arguments there. And again, sure, the Lib Dems, if they're the opposition for 5 years, if Labour don't get much done in their first term, which is looking to be the case based on what they're saying, especially with recent reports in the FT, talking about how Labour are going to water down their package of workers' rights, with them, constantly going on the record saying they're not actually going to get rid of, what's it called, all 0 hours contracts. Labour's vowed to include, end of fire and rehire, higher sick pay, which is good. The package as outlined in 21 has been billed by Starmer as the biggest increase in workers' rights for decades. Behind the scenes, Shadow Minister has been discussing how to tone down some of the pledges to ease employers' misgivings as the party tries to boost its pro-business credentials. And again, you can't be pro-business and pro-worker. You can't do it. It doesn't work. So here we can see the lobbyists are getting involved here in the party, and they're going to weaken it. That's what we can see from this. So again, who has Labour's ear here? Is it people like Graham Hughes? Or is it people in the business industry? My money would be not Graham Hughes.
Earlier this week was about having a hung parliament. And I don't know if we've had this discussion before, but I think that would be like the most dangerous thing imaginable, because you talk about like Starmer wanted to do his own thing, and I think that's, you're probably right to a certain extent. But the way that the country is at the moment, we're in a lot of trouble economically. And if Labour don't turn that around in the next few years, they're going to be out in their ear, and the Tories are going to be back with an absolute lunatic in charge, because there's going to be...
I mean, to be fair, if Labour don't get much done in their first time as a hung parliament, they might get a little bit of a pass for it, depending on if there's a coalition or not. That's what happened with the Tories in 2015. But the argument of, that if you're going to argue they're not going to get much done because of a coalition, I don't think that's true. They won't get much done because they're not saying they're going to get much done in their first term. That's the problem.
Suella Braverman or Kemi Badenoch or someone. And they're going to be backed by Reform and all of those, St. George lunatics. So that's what I'm terrified of, the idea that Labour it's only going to have a short period of time to try and turn things around for this country. And it's going to have its hands tied behind its back, because it can't go, we'll just rejoin the EU tomorrow, which is the obvious solution to all our problems. But what it can do...
And of course the EU will just take us back. Of course the EU will say, look, lads, it's a Labour government. We know how they do. We're gonna bring them in. We're gonna bring the UK back in. So it's complete garbage what you say now.
Who is move towards what's it called? Regulation. Bringing the regulations together.
Regulatory alignment.
Regulatory alignment. That's the one. They can move towards stuff like that, which they haven't ruled out, and I could see that would be something that comes up again in the 2029 election, which is to move even closer and closer to Europe. So it gets to a point where even the Brexiteers are like, "What's the point of being out? We're rule takers, not rule makers." But if Labour are in a position where they are beholden to the more extremes of their own party, and then asking the Lib Dems or whoever they go into coalition with, can we do this? And the Lib Dems are like, ooh, or the SNP are like, well, what's in it for Scotland then? It's going to be bogged down, and we've seen this in America, where the Democrats haven't had a majority in the House of Representatives, and nothing's got done. And now Biden looks crap, and Trump's.
That's how American politics goes, though. Like, if the argument of you can't get much done in a hung parliament is garbage. When you look at the amount the Conservative Party got done during those coalition years, they're gonna have to compromise and things like that. They are gonna have to compromise. Maybe they can get a supply and confidence agreement with the Lib Dems. I don't know what would happen at that point. But the argument of they can get nothing done, based on what we've seen of coalitions in the past in the UK, doubt big doubt. Even Theresa May got a decent amount of legislation through, whilst I think they had the supply and confidence agreement with the DUP. The only thing that really stuck her up was the Brexit stuff. So again, garbage.
He could have win this election because Biden looks so crap because he's not been able to do anything.
But the issue
Biden's going to lose this election not because he's been crap and he's not been able to do anything. He's going to lose this election partly down to his stance on Gaza, which is solely down to him, and the fact that Americans are feeling their kind of version of the cost of living crisis and not getting a ton of help. That's the problems they're going to face. If the Dems did try and push through more progressive kind of policies and they're constantly blocked by the Republicans, then they can make an argument, look, you guys need to give us a majority here because we're trying to push through these policies. None of that's happening. On the Gaza stuff, they've been horrendous, honestly. So, this argument of, Biden doesn't have, the majority in the House of Representatives, therefore he can't do anything. Garbage argument. This argument, that's going to cost him. It's not true.
It's like, you say that essentially the crux of that argument is the Lib Dems and the SNP would cause problems. We can't trust them to do the right thing.
No, I'm not saying that it just slow things down. Of course it would, because you'd have to square it with them. They'd have to whip all their MPs. I mean,
let's also remember what kind of country we're aiming for. We're aiming for the kind of country where parties do have to work together. We're aiming for proportional representation so that no party has an absolute majority. The notion of any party having an absolute majority, even though less than half of people voted for them, is fundamentally undemocratic because it means that most votes don't count. So
Femi's absolutely cooking here once again because he's got him again here by saying, well, you want a proportional representation system. This is how PR systems work. God damn.
We do have to move to a place where parties do work together. Remember, we're the only country in Europe other than Belarus that uses first past the post. Other countries do understand the concept that people with slightly different ideas do have to work together for the good of the country.
Yeah, I agree with that. But like having that with the system we've got, first past the post, trying to get a coalition in this sort of, I would declare
What difference would it make if we have a coalition under first past the post or a coalition under proportional representation? What difference would that make?
Emergency if I was in charge because of the situation our economy is in. It hasn't grown in 17 years, for God's sake. Like it's
not really true. It's been very low growth. I wouldn't say it hasn't grown for 17 years. That's not really true, is it?
But this is my point. Like the whole idea is we need to trust that Labour will do the right thing, but they've done everything in their power for the last 4 years to say do not trust us. If you are progressively minded, They've done everything they can to say don't trust us. They backed Israel while they were committing war crimes.
This is where he really starts cooking here.
Supportive of Brexit. They've supported first past the post. They've Starmer's gone on TV and praised Margaret Thatcher. He's said, "I don't care if I sound conservative," while saying conservative dog whistles. He's aimed the people his target audience at disillusioned Tory voters, which I understand to a certain extent.
Would you not do that?
No.
Considering the battering that Jeremy Corbyn took in December 2019?
So again, did Corbyn, get battered for his stance on Gaza? Like, what was he talking about? I get some of the other stuff. Maybe you should. There is a middle ground. I think Femi talks about. There is a middle ground between where Starmer is and where Corbyn is. That's true. There is a middle ground there, but Starmer's gone way the other way, way towards Cameron. That kind of the fiscal rules nonsense and all the stuff they're pushing. They're poisoning the well.
2019 election, I made a video within days explaining the path back for the UK, and it was be generally speaking broadly progressive. Don't go full Jeremy Corbyn, but be generally speaking broadly progressive, such that you can at least work with the Lib Dems. So they're not scared of you, and by showing you're willing to work with the Lib Dems, that will automatically gain you some of those disillusioned Tory voters, especially given what Boris Johnson then went on to do. So he could have been broadly progressive, said, all right, country, we have a broken voting system. Your votes don't count. We're going to have to do this as a pact to begin with, and then you'll never have to vote tactically. You'll never have to see a pact again because you'll be able to vote for whoever you want for the future of the UK.
This is great stuff here. It's genuinely good stuff.
Could have been done, and the Tories would have been gone. What he's trying to do now is get an absolute majority so that he has absolute power, and by doing so, he's being dishonest in order to get there. It's a double whammy of bad, whereas he could have been honest and achieved the result.
Do you think that he has been dishonest, though? Because don't forget when he put out his, what he wanted to do as leader. First of all, again, like
I mean, let's be honest now. Starmer's lied consistently about his positions on Gaza and what he said originally. So he has been dishonest.
it's not dictatorship. You have to do, what the cabinet is happy to go along with. But the other thing is,
you can shift people out of the cabinet. You don't have to go along with what the cabinet want. You can move people from there.
Along came COVID, and don't forget the leadership, stuff was launched in January 2020 before COVID, before the invasion of Ukraine, and before the bloody lettuce woman, Liz Truss's kamikaze budget. Things are demonstrably worse now than they were back in January 2020. And when it comes to things like Europe, because obviously that's my, that's where I started in all this. If I was in Starmer's position right now, I'd probably be doing the same thing. I'd probably just go, we're not talking about it. We're just not talking about it because...
But draw the line for me between things getting so bad under COVID, under Ukraine, under Truss, and being less willing to say what needs to be done.
Because he needs to win the election. He's got everyone against him. He's got half the Labour members.
I mean, he's got you guys for him.
Against him.
Why would he have the membership against him? What would he have done to have lost the membership? I wonder. You can't argue the membership against him, like really, when he's, especially since he's purged a lot, decent chunks of the membership. But also the fact that he's turned on them. He's gone after them. The party's gone actively purging members. But also the fact that you've changed policies so dramatically. These are Cameron kind of policies you're pushing here. Of course, the membership's going to be against you. When you ran on such a progressive leadership, when you ran on such progressive leadership pledges,
all the Tories against him. He's got the Greens,
obviously,
against him. He's got the SNP definitely against him.
I mean, yeah, I guess, but when you start causing problems for them, I'm not surprised they're against you.
He's got every single tabloid newspaper and most of the media.
Would you say is the Mirror, the Daily Mirror, is that a tabloid newspaper?
The channels in this country. The money in this country, there's 171 billionaires, and pretty much of them are all against Starmer. So if I am a back against the wall,
Labour are getting a lot more business donations now, so you can argue everyone's against them. Not really.
Or like that, I would just do everything in my power to get into power, so we can bring in the kind of PR reform that we need.
But they just said they're not going to do PR. So you arguing, let's get into power and just do PR. Doesn't make sense. They're not going to do it. They're not going to make the fundamental changes you want in order to make the country stable. The argument of get into power and make things stable, it doesn't work because they're not going to do it.
Just proportional representation, but also press reform as well.
They said they're not going to do press reform.
It's politics. It's horrible, and I hate it. And this is why
it's just stupidity, bruv. It's stupidity and hope, false hope. You're selling you believe in the snake oil at this point.
I don't want to be talking about politics. I want to be traveling the world and having.
No one's stopping you, big boy. No one's stopping you from doing that.
Good time.
So this
leave the politics to people who actually have a brain.
This is where we come to the various camps as to, because you talked about the two different camps that I referred to earlier, but I think there's actually kind of four, and it's slightly more complicated. So you got your people that say, all right, we can never vote for Starmer. He backed Israel. He's been basically borderline Tory. He's backed Brexit, so we'll never vote for him. We can't give him our votes, etc. On the other far end, we've got the Tories need to be absolutely demolished. We have to get the Tories out at all costs. They've been 14 years of the worst, most anti-poor people, anti-migrants, anti-minority, disgusting people. They've got to go. Yeah. Exactly. And therefore give Labour an absolute majority so that the Tories disintegrate as a party and are never seen from again.
Canada 93, dude. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
And then in the middle, you've got two more slightly different positions. You've got your pure vote tactically, just to make sure you get the Tories out, and then you've got a slight left of that, vote tactically as much as you can, but try and if you can, lean towards getting some of the other smaller parties in there as well, in the hopes of getting at least a degree of hung parliament, if not a complete hung parliament, but at least a significant amount of power that they can.
Okay, I think that's fair. Saying they got the extreme pro-Starmer people, the extreme anti-Starmer people, and people in the middle who are saying let's vote tactically to get rid of the Tories, and other groups saying let's vote tactically to help the Lib Dems or whatever. That's fair.
Work with Labour rebels when the time comes in order to get PR, that sort of thing.
How are Labour rebels going to get PR though? All they're going to do is slow down what the agenda is from the rest of the party.
But then, if PR isn't on the agenda, then yeah, it's not even gonna slow things down, because again, it would be like opposition. You have opposition day motions. You have like private members bill. The idea that it's gonna slow things down is completely stupid. I don't get how it's gonna slow things down when this is how Parliament works. You can pass things when you're not in government. You can try and push bills when you're not in government. That's just. Does he not understand how the system works?
Well, if the agenda, if they are Labour rebels on the issue of PR, then the rest of the party should be stopped.
Yeah, but it's not like they're going to make if they don't want PR, they just leave it as it is. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no way, unless you've got a private members bill, which I don't think they'd allow.
Why wouldn't they allow it? Unless you're saying the Labour leadership are actively against PR to the point where they will stop their own MPs from backing it, why wouldn't they allow it?
If they didn't want it. But I genuinely believe that the majority of Labour want PR because they know it's beneficial to them.
Then there's no problem then if Labour rebels do it. If this is something Labour want anyways, why not? Then you can have it in that election, in that second election really, rather than in the third one. Like, really, you should be supporting this. You should be supporting this. But, if you actually want a proportional representation system, you should be backing this. Instead, he's not.
You said it yourself. Like, the Tories haven't won a majority in all but 3 of the elections we've had since the war. That's ridiculous.
But you also said before that Jess Phillips isn't against PR per se.
I don't know actually about Jess, but I know that.
Oh, so you just made it up.
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
A lot of other Labour MPs who aren't talking about it right now.
Like who? The only one is Clive Lewis, as far as I'm aware.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah,
oh, yeah, of course, behind the scenes, because you're behind the curtain. You're behind the curtain. You know these people. You're friends with them. I'm sure they would never lie to you. They would never say, we're thinking about PR. I'm sure they wouldn't say that. No, I'm sure they will always tell you what you don't. They'll tell you the hard truth, not the stuff you want to hear. I'm sure of it.
I fail to see the logic here.
This is my point. There are lots of Labour MPs that are pro-PR. Clive Lewis is the king on that issue.
Yeah.
But there are, and I've spoken to them, several Labour MPs that are genuinely against PR. What they'll talk about the most is this thing called the constituency link, whereby under first past the post is one MP per town. Therefore, everybody knows they're one MP.
I wonder if we could do a proportional representation system where we keep the one MP per town. If they keep the constituencies as is. But maybe they do. I don't know how exactly they would go about it. That's the problem. But I'm sure there would be a way to have super constituencies, big ones, right? And you would have an MP assigned to a specific area, to a specific group of people. I'm sure there must be a way. I'm sure of it.
That they look for. Whereas under a proportional system, then you have to have slightly larger constituencies in order to split them up based on vote share. And so Jess Phillips was like, I don't want to be the MP of the West Midlands. I want to be the MP of Yardley specifically. And that sort of argument. And so I had to counter her and saying, well, if in every single election a party with a minority of the vote gets majority control, then that means that most votes have no effect on policy. So most people don't have effective representation. And so that constituency link is meaningless for the majority of people. So there are MPs that genuinely have an ideological attachment to first past the post. And so there is going to be a degree of a battle there.
Yeah, I agree. And also, there's some points to be made there as well about the constituency link. But that's fine because just like there's loads of flavours of democracy, there's loads of flavours of PR. There's different ways of doing it. It's not a one-size-fits-all. And obviously we would have a bespoke system that fits the United Kingdom and allows that constituency link to continue because we like that system.
Written constitution, yeah. I would want one, but...
It is a good system. And I having each area represent their representative to go into Parliament, I think is a good idea. One of the things, though, I will say about... Can I just... Puninator put in a super chat a while ago, so I just got to say thank you to Puninator. Puninator says, Labour are already on for a majority. No amount of tactical voting will benefit them. Anything they can do with a 50-seat majority is the same as a 250-seat majority. It only...
Blood's snacking. He's snacking. He's winning so hard, he's snacking.
He benefits the movement forward. I don't know if you saw about Josh's organisation there, but yeah, I get that.
The Stop the Tories vote, the what's it called? The Stop the Tories vote, I think has been partially proven to be a little bit dodgy, given that they pushed Labour in a council where the Greens won. So again, I'd be a bit nervous on it.
So this is why I'm supporting tactical voting because I want people to
No idea who these brothers are, to be honest. Punninator.
vote for whoever's the most likely to vote for, to beat the Tories in their constituency. And my dream isn't a hung parliament. My dream
This is
the
mad.
Tories being
This is the disrespect, fam. Femi, why are you eating during this man's video, like the stream?
battered down to 17 seats and literally not being a party in the 2029 election. Like, that's it. They're gone. And then we get a new party called the One Nation Tories or something, who are the more, normal conservatives who do what they have to do to appeal to the middle ground in order to start getting that vote share back up. Because all they're appealing to at the moment are the worst of us and the manufactured crises that they're inventing to say, oh, look at this problem. We will save you from this problem. And the way, in PMQs today, where it's like, oh, inflation's been halved. They're like, yeah, you put it up. It's like going, oh, we only killed half as many people this year. So you still killed people.
Yeah.
It was you. You haven't
We
seen it.
consistently had for about a period of about 3 years the highest inflation in the G7.
Sounds a bit hot, Phil. Has Femi spoken yet? Kind of. I think he was just eating, to be honest.
Yeah. And our economy hasn't grown since 2007. You look at it was about $3 trillion in 2007. It's around $3 trillion now. And
Yeah, there'd definitely be a way to do it.
And our population's gone up by 10%. GHK, thank you very much for the super chat. I love Femi, says GHK. Hey, you picked up, mate. Awesome. Intelligent, articulate, passionate and caring. I fear he's underestimating the need for better over best. This is a decade long.
We're not talking about better over best. We're talking about things that are we're talking things that are awful. Like, some of Labour's policies are awful. Some of the things Labour have said are awful. This idea that they're better, sure, marginally at this point. Some of the things that they've said about Muslim voters is nuts. Not even Muslim voters, sorry, pro-Palestine voters, right? Here, let's have a look. So this from Rob Major. I think he works for the BBC, saying Labour are briefing they believe they are on course for defeat in the West Midlands mayoral race, with support for independent candidate Ahmed Yaqub, who stood on a pro-Gaza ticket, a major factor. A senior party source said, "It's the Middle East, not the West Midlands. They will have won." Conservative candidate Andy Streeting, the mayoralty once again. Hamas are the real villains. A Conservative source told me that is vile, and they insist the contest is extremely close. Imagine a Conservative source saying what Labour have said is vile on such an issue where Labour are objectively wrong by saying once again Hamas are the real villains. What are you talking about? If anything, you guys are the main villains here. Wow, it just boggles your brain. You're just thinking, what are you doing? Like, stop briefing people. Why are these people who are so anti-Muslim allowed to be in the Labour Party? We've seen consistent briefings against Muslim people, consistent voting, this narrative of it. Why have these people not been kicked out of the party by now? Why have these people not been found? I find Graham utterly insufferable. He's not interested in listening and is triggered over Brexit. Simply doesn't get it. Yeah, that's pretty true, to be fair.
Decades-long plan. I'm kind of minded to agree with that, not just about you being, intelligent and articulate, passionate, and caring, but also about this being a long-term plan. My plan.
Where is this long-term plan? Where is it?
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Where's this plan?
Prepared for rejoining the EU is a good 10 years in the making. And
okay, but you need a roadmap. Where's your roadmap?
I can't see how it could be put into this election. I don't want this to be another Brexit referendum.
Oh no, I don't need Keir Starmer to come out and say we're rejoining the EU. No, I don't want him to do that at all. I think that the best way, and I've been saying this for literally 3 years, the best way to handle Brexit is to say, look, I am not ideologically driven on this at all. I don't care about our seat at the table or any of that crap. I just care about the cost of living crisis. Anything that's making the cost of living crisis worse, I will fix. If that means regulatory alignment, I'll do it. If it means whatever, I'll do it.
This is a fair argument. I think he's on a lot better at making this argument as well.
I'm speaking to people, to farmers, small businesses, etc. I'm just going to do what they, because I'm a public servant. That's all he has to do on Brexit.
These are good arguments.
On first past the post, on that, I think it is utter cowardice that hasn't been mentioned, because it is being talked about a lot. It's coming up in question time a lot. It's coming up. It is the majority of the country.
I'm not gonna lie. I have not seen it in question time, but I don't watch question time that much. But I've not seen it in the clips, so I'm not sure about that.
According to all the polls, is firmly for PR. And if the Daily Mail even tried to pin this against, to use it against him, he could just say, "We are literally trying to give power to the people. We're trying to get the people to take back control.
Yeah, the
People
Mail
feel
won't
powerless,
like
etc."
that. The Mail will be like, "What? How dare you? Power to the press barons. That's all we want power for."
Exactly.
No,
They would turn Keir Starmer into a populist icon.
Do you think in some respects though we're slightly jumping the gun here because the manifesto's not out yet? When the manifesto comes out, we can. In the words of Sultan.
So you're the one jumping the gun then, because you guys keep talking about how great Labour's policies are. Literally, Phil's got a whole Labour vision thing where he makes up shit about Labour policies. So in this argument of, when it comes to criticising Labour, you got to wait for the manifesto. You don't know what's going to be in the manifesto. When it comes to praising Labour, they're like, look at this policy Starmer announced and hasn't debunked, hasn't said he's going to take away. This policies Labour have gone quiet on, but I'm sure they'll do the right thing. I just, can't criticise Labour, manifesto's not out, but they can praise Labour even though the manifesto's not out. Just make it make sense, people. Make it make sense.
So Ping FC, put it to the test though.
You and I, again, have been through this, and it is extremely painful. That if what you're saying is correct, it's painful for me because I feared once I started to see the direction.
Damn, Graham's getting cooked in this poll. Graham's getting absolutely cooked in this poll. All right, see you later, Ruth.
Keir Starmer was taking almost immediately after the leadership election, that we were going to get a repeat of what happened with Corbyn, whereby he starts off basically copying the Tory line, like he did on Brexit, and like Corbyn's done on all the issues we've talked about. And then after 3 years of basically saying stuff that makes all lefties just not trust him, he finally comes out with a manifesto that does all the stuff we want. And it's too late.
This is the importance of setting the ground for policies that you want, and this is something I've talked about over the last few years. If you genuinely believe in some of these policies, then you should be setting the groundwork now. And the thing is, Labour haven't done that. So the argument of Labour will do these great policies. Even the argument Labour are going to do PR, you have to set the groundwork now. They haven't done it. They haven't put the yards in. That's one of the reasons they keep running into problems.
That's my fear.
Oh yeah, okay, I get that, but the big difference between him and Corbyn is like the Labour Party have maintained this massive lead over the Tories.
Yes, let's discuss this. Let's discuss this again. The poll lead, UK polls. This is again. We've debunked this before, right? We've debunked this before. Let's do it again, because I can't lie. This argument is so dumb. It's actually so dumb. And anyone who falls for this is a clown. It's not just a clown. They're the entire circus, right? So here we go. I'm gonna bring this. I'm gonna wait for him to speak, and then I'll bring it on screen.
That's true. That is true.
18 months now. So I just look at it and go, okay, I might not agree with everything he's doing, but it's working. I can't disagree with the results because it's keeping the Tories down to like 19% of the population are going to vote for them in the next election. I mean, a lot of that is the Tories looking bad, but as I like to point out to people, the Tories did terribly in the European elections in 2019, but so did Labour.
The European elections, right? So who stole the votes? The Brexit party. Wow, imagine that. A party that does Brexit stuff doing well during European elections. Let's look at that. Look how high UKIP are kind of polling in and around the Brexit referendum. Wow, I wonder why UKIP are doing well during the Brexit referendum. Let's have a look at years. Let's have a look at years. Let's have a look at years where EU elections, UK. What was the? Let's have a look. So 2019 we had one. Let's see if I can find anything. Let's see. 20. How often these happen? Every 5 years. Let's go -5. 2014. I reckon there would have been one. Yep, European elections. So let's have a look. Let's have a gander at 2014. Wow, would you look at that? UKIP on 16%, and then after the election they dip. Wow, it's almost like these kind of pro-Brexit parties do better when there's an EU referendum going on. Almost like that happens because they just dip off after the after the EU elections. Wow, it's crazy, isn't it? That's crazy. It's almost like this argument makes absolutely no sense. It's almost like it's spin, guys. It's almost like
My sources that I made it the fuck up.
The problem is during these debates I'm going to be playing that clip endlessly.
So it's not anything to say, it's just because the Tories are bad, that's why they're all going for Labour. Yeah,
It's such a dumb point. I wish, I really wish I could have a crack at these guys, I'll be honest.
I see it at the moment with Starmer is he is petrified. I mean, he looks like a rabbit in headlights at the best of times, but I think he's petrified of this huge force of generally old.
Well, yeah. I mean, they still exist, but Farage left, so.
Not all boomers. Hashtag not all boomers, but generally older voters who have voted Tory all their life being scared into voting for the Tories. And I think there were a lot of people in 2019 who didn't vote for the Tory party with their heart. They voted out of fear. They voted because they were scared of what a Corbyn government might look like. Even though, the manifesto was pretty reasonable. There was nothing in there about, chopping off the Queen's head or nothing. It was fine.
I've spoken to a bunch of people who were scared, who just swallowed all the scare stories about Venezuela.
It was probably too much, I think, at once. Corbyn wasn't trusted. People don't understand how public finances work, and also Corbyn deeply despised by the public.
I know.
Oh, where did Boris Johnson go last month? Where was it? Venezuela? Didn't he go to paid for by a mysteriously funded think tank, which is really weird. We got Damien Pritchard in the chat. Thank you so much for the super chat. It's really kind. I spoke to my local Tory MP who said I should vote positive. I said that under first past the post, I have no choice but to vote tactically to kick the Tories out. Yeah. So, I mean...
So, just to get back to this, like, my position...
I'm going to struggle to get through another half an hour of this, guys.
Like, back, 3 years ago was... Essentially, I don't negotiate.
Oh my god, that is such a good point. That is such a good point. Let's see if he. I doubt he's covered it, because it was. I think within the last couple of days. Let's see if he's covered it. See, he's got something on his best friend George Galloway, who he loves covering. Taxing billionaires, Sunak to lead or not to lead. Something about Gibraltar. Something about Teesside Works. Oh, I can't see anything about the Labour Party. In fact, he hasn't done a video on the Labour Party for a while. He's done a video on Warhammer, but nothing on the Labour Party. Crazy. No. I actually have a very similar pair. Oh, you guys can't see it, but I have a very similar pair of glasses to the ones he showed on this. Nothing about the Labour Party. It's crazy. Anything in his live stream. Chat with... We own it with... I don't know who that is. No, that's crazy, guys. Imagine he did nothing. He's done nothing on this, by the looks of things, based on the titles. Nothing on Labour and the workers' rights bill. Crazy.
With terrorists, i.e., that thing in movies where they say we don't negotiate with terrorists because if you give in to their demands...
The poll is still active, I think. I haven't stopped the poll.
We'll just keep doing it again. If you support a party that still supports first past the post, a policy that keeps spitting out right-wing governments, then you're just going to... You have to basically say, I will not vote for you until you give us PR. That was my position 3 years ago. I've mellowed significantly on that because of two things. One, it just looked like there was no way Starmer wasn't going to win, so that you can threaten them saying, hey, you got to give us PR, otherwise you won't get elected, when he was clearly going to be elected. Yeah. The other main thing was... once the Labour members voted overwhelmingly for PR, then it became clear that even if Starmer does come into power with an opposition to PR, at least the members, we'd have allies within the party that we could work with in order to push him towards PR after he got elected. So that was why I mellowed on that. As for my position right now, I am seeing the two camps between, well, I said there were four, but let's go broadly, two camps between Never Starmer on one side and we've got to vote tactically on the other side, which, by the way, voting tactically does not necessarily mean voting Labour, especially because the movement forward, Josh's organisation, is very much looking at ways to...
yeah, again, that I wouldn't use that website.
There will be places where you should vote Labour, places where you should vote Green, places where you should vote Lib Dem, etc., SNP, Plaid, whatever.
I've literally just made a video called Don't Vote Labour, if... for Labour Social. So yeah, I'm completely on board with that. Because I want more people in Parliament, whatever the strike.
Can Femi speak, please?
Sit there from the Green Party or for the Lib Dems or Plaid Cymru or the SNP, who aren't there to feather their own nests. All the Tories are there for is just to make more money. That's the only reason they go into. Maybe in the past you could argue some of them actually did care. But...
Nah, I would argue that really. Maybe a couple of MPs did. Maybe like Alicia Kearns or someone like that does care, but. Nah, for the most part, they're about themselves.
This lot, the 2019.
That's the big difference. Like the old school Tories, we could disagree with.
No, the old school Tories were still annoying. I still hate them. You can be mad about it.
That's right. Don't blame yourself. Blame me.
The old school Tories were washed.
With them on fundamentally on every issue in the world.
Oh, I'm not sure then. I don't know why the poll's not working.
But at least you believe that they believed they were doing the right thing. This lot don't care. But yeah, so to get
I mean, to be fair, some of the Brexiteers, and I wouldn't be surprised if some of the Tory MPs that are Brexiteers believe they were doing the right thing. Just because you think you're morally correct does not mean much. If anything, that makes you worse in some ways, because you're using your bad morals to push that onto other people.
That's the issue. Between the groups of Never Starmer and
Oh, look at that. Sarah White saying, this one loves to bash Labour. Bad choice, mate. According to you, a person who knows nothing.
Vote tactically, I understand both positions. I understand that if you've seen a genocide happening and you've seen Keir Starmer essentially back it, you might feel that you cannot bring yourself to vote Labour, and I get that. I can also see that if you've watched the Tories ruin millions of lives for 15 years, you cannot bring yourself to do anything other than vote tactically to destroy them. I understand those two positions. They're entirely valid. So, which is why my view is I'm not going to get involved in trying to defeat one side or the other. I'm just going to explain, all right, both sides are valid. The main thing is that those two groups are able to work.
Yeah, with the vote share stuff, like, it's about dispersal as well. That's one of the other major problems. Him increasing the vote share is fine, but it's about key voters as well, unfortunately.
Work together after the election to push Starmer to make sure he does the right thing. That's my priority.
But why would... I think there's degrees to which... I mean, like, one of the things I do like about Starmer is he hasn't got a cult. He's not like Trump or even Corbyn or
Blair.
What's his name? Johnson, where people are like, oh, I just want to hang out with him. I just want to be his friend. I just want to go down the pub with him. Do you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't come across as someone that you want to...
Yeah, he's got no no charisma whatsoever. That's... sometimes that's a positive, but again, like, so who cares?
invite out when you're having a party. Oh my god!
Yeah, he is the cult. To be fair,
we're having a party. Quick, get Keir in. He'll bring the beers.
Yeah, what is my blood waffling about? Like, again, like, Femi's actually making actual good political points here, and my man's talking about, at least no one wants to party with him.
And the cubby, obviously.
That might make you like the idea of Starmer, but not being somebody you want to hang out with isn't really a positive for him.
No. I mean, I like that because I want politics to be sensible again. I'm fed up of it being bloody world.
Cult of personality, I get.
I mean, when was it boring? Like, was it under Blair? Was it boring? Really?
Wrestling Federation or Enterprise or whatever it's called these days. Show me.
He does sound like he's in a cult, Emma. To be fair.
There, aren't I? World Wildlife Fund wrestling. I'm sick of it being like this joke to people.
When was it ever not a joke to people? When did people actually believe in politics? When did people actually care?
Entertainment. It's just entertainment now and content, and it shouldn't be. It should be they're making decisions that impact people's lives, and we're in a situation now where there's over 14 million people living in poverty. We've got 1 in 4 children living in poverty thanks to the Tories. We've got millions of people using food banks every week. There were no food banks in 2010. There were hardly any food banks in the country, and now there's thousands of them.
That's true. It's a bit of a weird shift of the goalpost there, but it is true. These are things that we should talk about more, but the media doesn't, and I'm guilty of that as well as all of this lot.
The NHS was the envy of the world.
All we have is anyone but the Tories. Yeah.
It was voted the best health system in the world.
Yeah, Sarah White's having an absolute meltdown. It's irrelevant. We need to stop the Tories. Please stop this. This isn't the time. But when is the time then? When is the time to criticise Labour?
In 2020. 2010, sorry. In 2010. And then in the last 14 years, the Tories have just taken a wrecking ball to it. And now they're salting the earth, putting in policies. The reason why they rushed through these trade deals that we've got with Australia isn't because they were just desperate to do some trade with Australia or India or New Zealand or anywhere. They did it because they want to salt the earth for anyone coming after them, so they can't reverse Brexit.
I mean, I don't think that's true either. I think they're doing this in order to try and get more votes in the polls. Because again, these trade deals have a 6-month kill switch. So again, Labour can get rid of these trade deals like fairly quickly
without paying massive amounts of compensation out to these countries on the other side of the planet that don't really care whether we trade with them or not because they're on the other side of the planet. So I'm just, I don't know. I feel like this isn't the time to be going off on one about PR or about Europe.
Well, you'll never get the things you want then, because it will never be the time. It will never be the time because, during the next term, when you talk about these policies, Labour will keep saying, oh, they're not that popular, people don't want them. They want to focus on bread and butter issues. If you criticise Labour, you're helping the Tories. The exact argument this lot make most of the time. So it will never be the time to get your policies done because that's not what the party wants.
The EU, I feel like this is the time to sit down, get the grown-ups in charge. And don't forget, Labour are always going to be more accessible to people like you and me than the Tories ever were or are. And they're also going to be held to a higher standard than the Tories and held to account way more than the Tories are. I mean, poor old Angela Rayner can't even, buy a house or sell a house 15 years ago without getting into trouble for it. Meanwhile, the Tories are like literally killing people.
Yeah.
So I'm a little, I'm
Again, austerity is killing people, and when we look at the fiscal rules and stuff, not great.
not feeling like, it's Labour going to get in, it's going to be just more of the same. I do think we're going to see a change.
To what degree is the change, though? That's the thing. When David Cameron was changed out for Theresa May, there was a change. When Boris Johnson came in, there was a change. When Liz Truss came in, there was a change. When Rishi Sunak came in, there was a change. Just because there's a change doesn't mean it's going to be positive or it's going to be to a large degree. That's what I want to see, a big change. Big changes. That's what I want. Fingers are crossed that Labour don't win a majority and have to compromise. I wouldn't be against a small majority, honestly. I don't want a stonking one. A small Labour majority would do be just fine.
7.
Which is why my thing is, like, I'm not so interested in the fight between the Never Starmer and the Vote Tactically right now. The issue is we have to go into that new administration with the understanding that lots of people do not trust him, and we all need to be fighting to make sure he goes the right direction. And PR should be treated as a priority because there's always going to be another crisis. Every time a new government comes in, there's going to be another crisis. But the reason we keep getting into these crises is because our voting system keeps giving power to parties on the right, even though the country votes to the left.
Yeah.
If we don't solve the root problem, we're just that little boy sticking his finger in the hole in the dam, and the water's still pouring.
But the Tories are never going to get rid of first past the post. So if we're going on a journey here, the first step of that journey is Labour getting in.
I don't disagree. But my issue is, whatever happens between now and the election will happen. There will be people fighting between Never Starmer and Vote Tactically. Sure. After the election, that is my priority because that's when everybody's going to show their true colors. People that are actually genuinely happy with Keir Starmer's Tory light, blah, blah, blah. If he does that, will be shown to be actually like actual Tories. However, if he does that and people, how do I phrase this? After the election, both sides need to actually pressure him. That's the issue I'm talking about. What happened before isn't as important. After the election is important.
I'm going to come to a super chat in the moment, but before I do, don't you think it's better to be inside the tent pissing out than outside the tent pissing in? Because why are they going to listen to people who say, I didn't vote for you because I hate you? No.
How is he going to know? How is he going to know who voted for him or who didn't? That's the thing, unless they openly say, I didn't vote for you and now I want this, you'd be an idiot to. You just lie. Why would you say, oh yeah, I didn't vote for you, now I want this? You just say, yeah, I voted for you, now I want this, even if you didn't vote for him. If you don't say it publicly, who cares?
Do what I say. Rather than, we voted for you because we thought you were going to bring change and you're letting us down here by not bringing in change.
And again, what are those people going to do? The ones who didn't vote for, or who did vote for him, what you can do, vote for the Conservative Party at that point. I don't get it. Also, I'm American. The reps just vote against the Dems no matter what. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, honestly, if I was genuinely in Keir Starmer's position, having, as you said, you do something similar, having essentially lied for the last 4 years, saying that they support Brexit, we've got to make Brexit work, and all that sort of stuff. The people that didn't vote for me, I'd have more respect for if they then said, we want you to do the right thing now. People that did, you believe me when I was lying to you?
Yeah, you'll believe me anyways. You guys are idiots. You just, honestly, this is a fatality. I played the wrong thing there. This is a fatality here.
Well, I'd rather that he set his record out now rather than when they're in power and turn around and go, I'd rather they were realistic and said, look, we're not going to be able to afford to spend 28 billion on, the green revolution in this country, but we are going to try and, do as much as we can. I'd rather they say that now than lie to us and say, I'm going to spend this much on net zero by 2030, la 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 la, I'm going to bring in HS2, we're going to do this, we're going to build a bridge, a garden bridge.
So, they've lied consistently up to this point. So, are you happy with that? They're just going to keep doing expectation management until they get in and then just do the bare minimum. Are you okay with that?
The glorious garden bridge all the way from Scotland to Ireland and then not doing it. I think that would be worse. I'd rather that they said before the election, before we vote, this is what you're going to get if you vote for us. Even if it's not exactly what we want, because I'd rather get 50% of what I want off Labour.
You're not getting 50%, blood. Let's be real. You ain't getting 50%. You're lucky to get 20.
And 0% of what I want off the Tories.
Or you can try and pressure them now and get more of what you want.
But in terms of stuff...
Yeah, it chat's wild, fam. This lady's going wild.
They could promise beforehand...
Get him out. He knows why he did it. He knows this isn't it. This person's going nuts.
Afford it, or they go back on spending that sort of stuff.
Why would they? If they add more stuff in after the election, right? That's not manifesto stuff. The Lords can block it. All this fear mongering about the Lords. The Lords at that point can block it if it's not in the manifesto.
Stuff that I can sort of understand more, because that's a case of making sure that you're balancing the books, etc. But with stuff like, I don't know, let's say stuff like this on the ideological of what sort of country are we? In the issues of Brexit, are we a democratic country? Are we a country that supports war crimes? That sort of stuff. That sort of stuff they could say now, and it wouldn't be a case of we got into that we just couldn't afford it. We couldn't afford to reverse Brexit.
Brexit, I think that if Starmer, this is why I say that I would do the same thing that Starmer's doing when it comes to Brexit. If he says, if we get in, we're going to do away with this stupid Brexit thing. Oh my God!
There's no argument for that. Again, it's just a straw man.
I'm not saying that.
I know, but I'm saying if he did,
it's a straw man though, because no one is arguing that point. You're saying, if Starmer said, I'm gonna change my name to General Starmer, and I'm gonna run the country by brutal dictatorship. I'm not saying you're saying that. But I'm saying if he did, I don't think that'd be a good idea. It's just dumb.
Say that, then.
They don't even have to commit to just say PR. They just have to say we're going to commit to vote. To voting reform. That's all they would have to put something to do with voting reform. Say, we're going to commission a report into how effective first past the post is in representing people's views. That's all they would have to say. Hello, Cthulhu.
But the newspapers would crucify him.
But the problem is that's the problem with this argument. Every time somebody says Starmer's doing the wrong thing on Brexit, the answer is, but he can't go against the wishes of the British people. He can't say, to hell with...
Can't go against the wishes of the Daily Mail. We're 40 minutes into this stream. We've got 20 minutes left of their video. If you'd be kind enough to pick up any memberships if you would like to do so, or can afford to do so, or any super chats or whatever, I'd really appreciate it. Or if you just like the video. Actually, the video's doing really well for likes. So don't worry about that too much. But I really appreciate everyone's time here on this really dreary Friday night.
Brexit, because the Daily Mail will crucify him. No, I've never said that. I've only ever said just call out the specific things that are hurting people. That's all you have to do. And don't lie about saying you'll make Brexit work. Because that just...
Are you just bothered about that line because there is no way of making Brexit work and it's an oxymoron?
Yeah.
Fair enough. That's the line that they've taken though, because they want to shut down the debate. They just want.
It doesn't make it right though, or doesn't make it effective either.
Don't want anyone bringing it up because they don't want to make this a rerun of the Brexit referendum, because that would scare the people who voted for Brexit. They're probably a bit embarrassed about it now, but it's the one time in their entire life they put an X in a box and it actually changed things. Catastrophically, but it did change things. So, and if you take that away from them, Femi, that's like stealing their firstborn. That's the thing that they care about more than anything else.
A couple of years ago, I realized that the people that were saying we need to get rid of Starmer actually get rid of him as...
No. So Femi isn't super pro Labour. If anything, Femi is actually really good on this issue. I genuinely can say, out of a lot of the people in the YouTube space, his position might be better than mine. Boring and partisan. How is Femi partisan? Please explain. I think Femi probably has some of the best takes in this specific field. On the single market, he's washed. On a lot of other areas, I think he's actually quite good. I genuinely think he's quite good. So I wouldn't say Femi's super pro Labour. I think he's got a nuanced takeaway saying if you want to vote Labour, I get it. If you don't want to vote Labour, I also get it.
Leader. I was telling them, and they were primarily Corbynista types, people who would support Corbyn. And I was saying, look, if you want to do that, I understand, but the person you're looking to replace him with better be somebody who supports PR. You need to have a clear plan that shows me this isn't just about getting your way, it's about actually fixing the country. Similarly, if we...
Someone's saying he's a shameless grifter. Are they talking about Femi?
If you say you vote Starmer in, give an absolute majority, I need to know, in the interest of good faith, that you will actually put the yards in after he's in there to make sure we get the things that we actually need.
Facts.
That is my...
Facts. 100% facts. You have to be able... these guys here, the ones that are telling people, the people like the Labour Social lot, Hat Boy, I guess Graham would be Hat Man, but I'm not going to... I need a better nickname than that. Hat Boy, Phil, Graham, Tansky, who else can I name? Daily Blase, all of these people saying vote Labour and all this stuff, right? I want to see you guys, as soon as that election's done, if Labour went on, see you put in the hard yards to get the policies that you guys have said Labour are going to do. Because if you don't do that, then you guys sold yourselves out. And, you can't say you went and won at that point. You guys have said you were going to vote for Labour and we're going to put pressure on them. You're going to have to put in the hard yards after that. And I don't know if you guys have got that in you.
Entire priority. That means being willing to do whatever it takes. That means full-on mutiny within the Labour Party to make sure that he gives us PR, that he stops backing Israel, all those sorts of issues.
How are you going to foment a full-on mutiny within Labour if you're on the outside of it?
How are we going to be on the outside of it? I don't get it. Like, do you want people to pick up memberships? I don't get it.
I know you understand.
That's all Labour's going to say to you. I know you understand why we had to do all these crap policies.
My thinking is get in with them, make sure I'm a member, make sure I have representation, and talk to Labour MPs. I'll chat with my local Labour MP here in Durham.
Well, not everyone's as well connected as you, buddy. Some people can't get conversations like that with their local Labour MPs.
And you're more likely to affect change that way and have a long-term plan.
What change have you affected by doing that then?
Rather than demanding PR now in the manifesto, which I know you said before it should be a priority, but
this honestly, yeah, this comment section's giving me life. This is actually so funny. Look, do this after you damned hack. You're basically Owen. This is so hilarious. This comment section actually won. Femi, you're just fine. Whatever happens, that's why I'm furious. You have no right. This is actually just wow.
In terms of real politics, it's not what people are thinking of when you go, what's the problem at the moment? The problem is they can't put the heating on and they haven't got enough money, even though they're working 3 jobs to buy food.
When you say real politics, you're talking about what you need to do to win an election. I'm talking about after the election.
Yeah. But but saying calling Starmer a liar and saying he supports genocide and stuff like that is not really going to encourage people to vote for Labour in the next election, is it?
Okay, I missed the part where that's our problem. If these are factual statements, these are actual factual statements that have happened. If you're not tough enough, and if you want to be all buddy with Labour, oh look at me with my connections and all that stuff, yeah, that's on you, Chief. Thank you, Casper Northerner, for the sticker. I don't think everyone's posted one of these before. What is it? A sticker? A GIF? A sticker. I think they're called. YouTube call them stickers, right? Yeah, super sticker. Thank you for the super sticker. I've never seen one of those before on live streams, anyways. So thank you, Casper.
Well, I mean, it's true. Like he did do the whole when he was asked about the cutting off electricity, cutting off food. He said he was misquoted on that.
He wasn't misquoted because he doubled down on it. Labour MPs doubled down on it. That's complete garbage.
Well,
he
wasn't misquoted on that.
Oh no, he was a human rights lawyer. Like who cares? Who cares what his past was at that point? He's gone against it. He was trying to deport a person who I think was on the spectrum, who had hacked into an American computer. He tried to, I think it was one of the American agencies was hacked into. Starmer was going to deport that person. And who stopped it? Bloody Theresa May, Mr. Human Rights Lawyer. He tried to, during the London riots, tried to get people arrested, people who stole water. Mr. Human Rights Lawyer. Get off with that stuff, honestly. Get lost.
We all watched the clip. He was asked. Ferrari asked him, "Do you think it's okay for Israel to shut off food, water, and electricity?" And he kept repeating, "Israel has the right to defend himself."
Addressed that and said that that's not what I meant. So
these are two different things. He shifted the goalpost again.
I made it the fuck up. My sources that I made it the fuck up.
first he was misquoted, and now he shifted to, oh, that he said that's not what he meant to say. These are two different things. If you misquote someone, that's an act of you have taken their quote out of context, or in some way where it was is now been interpreted how it shouldn't have been interpreted because someone's done something dodgy here. But now he's saying, oh, that's not what he meant to say. He literally went to a mosque and said, we reiterate our calls for Hamas to release the hostages. He went to a mosque in Wales, and did this. Like, how? This is wild. These statements, you know, like, wow. Like, this is the level of this lot. You know, imagine being one of their subscribers, right? And this is the level you guys subscribe to.
Stings, doesn't it?
He can't argue to save himself. It's crazy.
Stings, doesn't it?
Just wow. I don't have the soundboard. I'm not equipped with the sound effects to really emphasize how I feel here. This is nuts. This is absolutely nuts. Their arguments are for Labour.
Start praying, boy.
Like, they're literally just saying, start praying, you know, fingers crossed they'll do the right things and all this stuff. You know, when they're called on certain things, or when they try and make points, you try and call them out on it.
My sources that I made it the fuck up.
I just don't get it.
I fail to see the logic here. The price to pay for power.
Guys, I just don't get it. I just don't get it, honestly. Like, you know, like I can show levels. I can correct these people.
I'm about to kick this battle up a notch.
I can do all of that, but why did he go to a Muslim community? I thought it was massive. He went there to try and allay concerns that the Muslim community have of some of the stuff he said, because some of the stuff Starmer did say was really bad, right? And then on his Twitter he said, I've reiterated my calls for Hamas to release the hostages. This is a mosque in Wales. And the Imam, they literally sprung this on the mosque. If you listen to what the Imam actually said, he said, we didn't actually know that he was going to turn up. And I didn't know what he said. He said, I'm an Imam from Egypt. I don't follow this stuff closely. If that Imam, the Imam is saying, if he knew what Starman said, he would never have allowed him to visit the mosque. Never. Never. Starmer let himself down big time on the Gaza issue. Starmer called for the UK to restore. I think they have called on the restoration of UNRWA funding. I think they have done that. To be fair to them, I will say they did that. Yeah, but they should never have called it for it to be taken away.
I mean, he hasn't doubled down on it and gone, yeah, you know.
Well, of course he didn't. He'd be complete more. No, actually, he did double down on it. He did double down on the original quote during the first week. And so did, what's her name, Emily Thornberry and a few others. He's just shamelessly lying.
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
War crimes, I love him.
Bear with them, I'm just going to mute and just get a drink quick. Throat's absolutely dying here.
And this is a guy who was a human rights lawyer. This is the guy who...
Again, like, who cares if he was a human rights lawyer? Boris Johnson was you know what I mean? Like, was accredited as a journalist. Who cares? If he... He was a human rights lawyer, okay, in his past life. You had MPs who were lawyers. MPs who probably did great things in their past lives. Be completely washed. Who cares?
Defended...
Ooh, Reform won their first seats in the election, while Green have taken 159 seats. That's wild. That's wild. Do you know what? Let's have a look, actually. Oops. Oh, crap. Oh, no. Has the stream died? Oh, no. Is the stream still up? Sorry, guys. I hit the wrong button. Is the stream still up? Can anyone confirm it? Can you guys still listen? Okay, I clicked the X button instead of the tab button because they're right next to each other. Oof, that was scary. That was a scary moment. Luckily, actually, YouTube's quite prepared for this stuff. Let's see what we're cooking with here. Who wears a jacket like this? So let's see. Labour plus 169, good. Lib Dems up 94, good. down by 433. Is this the count's almost done? They were saying, the Tories were saying if they lose 500, it'll be a disaster or something like that. They are not far away from that. Independence 87, good. Where's Reform then? Let's see. Our dogs right here. My dogs 159. Let's go. Plus 66. The Residents Association. I don't know who these people are. The RA. Is that who you mentioned earlier? QA. No, you didn't. Okay. Reform on 2. Oh, the independents would be... A lot of these would be the ones who left Labour. Robot Reeves, is she battery powered or... I don't like her very much, I'll be honest. They've lost 8 councils. The Conservatives lost 8 councils. You love to see it. Labour have gained 8 councils. And the Lib Dems have gained 1. This is... Yeah, you love to see this kind of stuff, honestly. Whoops. I got lost. Bear with. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else in the news worth covering whilst we're live, because there's a bit left in the other thing. Sword attack victim, post office expert, post office lawyer accused of big fat lie. Remains of a man thought to be a hostage found. That's a terrifying thought. Squirrels may have been given medieval Britain's leprosy. That's scary, given how much people love squirrels. This is dangerous. This is dangerous a little bit. Kyiv can use British weapons in Russia, especially since we gave them the long-range missiles. 3 charged over killing of Sikh activists in Canada. There's not a lot of big relevant news here, I think. No, let's carry on.
The McLibel too. He's the guy who went around the world getting the death penalty rescinded in countries around the world. He's
Ben Houchin winning again is crazy.
saved hundreds, possibly thousands of innocent lives in what he's done so far. That's before he even became Director of Public Prosecution. He was the guy who took down Rebecca Brooks and the News of the World, and they all still hate him for it. And so,
I mean, sure, okay, you can argue he did a good job there. He also did dodgy things as head of CPS. So again, gonna call a doubt on some of this.
I don't know. I just don't see that taking one line that he said. Well, obviously he's messed up what he said, and afterwards he's gone.
Oh, he's gone from misquote to messed up now.
No, messed that up.
Well, the thing is, it
Negates
wasn't
an
just
entire
afterwards,
lifetime
it was...
of actual action of him doing stuff, rather than just being a placard politician.
I mean, you're going to have a politician who constantly messes up first time round, though, when he's asked questions. Do you want that as your Prime Minister who's going to mess up first time round their actions?
You know, down with this kind of thing. Careful now.
The thing is, it took...
Who is Graham? Honestly, Graham, this is a constant straw manning is ugly. So ugly.
It took him a week to come back on it, and for me, that is like we all saw the clip, and within seconds we were like, "You really messed up here." It took him a week,
And he should have clarified instantly. Yep.
to correct the record on that.
I think it might have been 2. It might have been 2 weeks actually.
Which is like that tells me he was so desperate to appear to be in support of Israel, especially given that he had this mistaken belief that Corbyn's anti-Semitism issues was because he was too and critical of Israel. I think that was what drove him to that. He was prioritizing, for all reasons that you talked about, him winning power. He had to show that he was clean of the Corbyn years, etc.
And if anything, that has made Labour less likely to win power. That kind of stuff. What he said makes him less likely.
And that willingness to disregard principle, it just doesn't give me confidence. And so in terms of how we treat him after the election, I don't think there should be any grace, because you spent the last four years lying to us. I don't think there should be any benefit of the doubt. We should treat him like he has been telling us we should treat him. So yes, get him in, whatever you want. If you want to vote him in, vote him in. But afterwards, we have to be on the same page that we should not be just letting him get on with it. He needs to do the things that we need him to do, and he needs to do them faster.
I think you're making a bit of a straw man there, because
The irony of that statement. I think you're making a bit of a straw man there. Oof.
no one's saying that. I'm not saying that we should give him a free rein. And it's not just him that we're electing, it's the Labour Party. It's going to be 300 MPs. It's going to be the shadow cabinet, or the cabinet as it'll be in
They're washed as well.
government. It's not just him on his own. And like I said at the start of the interview, you know, in our system, if the MPs don't want you to be the Prime Minister anymore, they have many, many ways of getting rid of you.
So again, you criticise Starmer for you criticise not Starmer, sorry, you criticise Sunak for being like not having an election, but then you're in favour of the system. I don't get it. He goes, Femi, love you, mate, but now is not the time. Get Labour in, see what they do, and then fight the next election. Starmer is a decent guy. Yeah, I don't think he is. Emma Price.
As we saw with Liz Truss and the bloody letters. But before we go on, I've got some super chats, which I have to come back to. We've got... I've done that one. We've got Cathal. Thank you very much for the super chat, Cathal. That's really kind. Our multi-state constituency PR single transferable vote system gives the Brits gave us is great. There's no tactical voting, which shouldn't be a thing. Yeah, I agree. Josh, who set up Stop the Tories Vote, he says it himself. Tactical voting shouldn't be a thing. You should be able to vote for the party that you want. But the one bit of...
They love this Josh guy, I swear to God.
Sort of tactical voting, it's one bit of sort of preferred voting system that we had for mayoral elections. The Tories have done away with that now. So last time you could vote, number one, Count Binface for Mayor of London, and number two, City Khan. And if Count Binface only got X many votes, then he was taken out and it was moved to the next round. That's not happening this time. It's just an X. It's just an X in the box if you've got the right ID. The Tories have done a real number on us on this.
I mean, the question is, are Labour actually going to get rid of the photo ID system for votes? I haven't heard them say anything about it.
When we talk about PR, we're trying to improve the system that we've got now. The Tories are demonstrably doing things to make things less democratic.
I think did the Tories put in that system for mayoral votes, or was it always like that? The transferable vote system. Let's see. When was it always like that, or London mayor vote? Was it always like that, or was it the Conservative Party changed it? I don't know when. I don't know how to find it. Let's see. I'm not sure how to find out, actually. I wonder if has it always been like that?
Yep.
And they already are to consolidate their power. And the amount of power they give to Tufton Street and the mysteriously...
Yeah, when was it changed? When was it changed from first past the post to STV, or was it always STV? That's what I'm asking.
Funded think tanks, charities. The charities, don't you know? It's just, I find it disgusting. Anyway, I've got a couple of super chats and we'll come back to Femi. Puninator says, Femi, I am in the maximise the tactical vote camp, but that doesn't mean I trust Starmer, ... I don't trust anyone I've never met myself. I've met...
It's a weird take.
Starmer, I don't need to trust him. I don't feel like I need to trust him.
What, you don't feel like... So what do you think he's just going to do all these things on God or something? Like, what do you mean you don't feel the need to trust him? I'm genuinely just baffled. What do you mean you don't feel the need to trust me? If you don't have trust in politicians or politics, they're not. There's no point in having the system. Then democracy's a failure at that point. If you don't trust these people to actually, hold their word.
I feel like Labour has a very strong, active, very loud membership who...
No one cares about the membership. No one. The membership have been ignored consistently for years and years and years under Corbyn and under Starmer. This argument about the membership, garbage argument.
Well, if Labour fail in the first few years of their administration, then they're going to get rid of Starmer and put someone else in.
The membership can't do that. The membership can't do that. It'll be up to the PLP to do that. And again, if this is the case, then you shouldn't have been against Liz Truss being selected as the Tory candidate and becoming Prime Minister. If you're happy with this system now,
it's as simple as that.
I don't think he should get 3 years. I think we need to see action off the ground, like some huge signs right from the get-go that he's actually going to do some stuff that he spent 3 years saying he's not going to do. Otherwise, because even with Tony Blair, he promised PR and didn't do it and kicked it down the road.
He also promised not to bring in tuition fees.
You're literally, again, Graham, you're trying to be funny, but you're making the point for us. We can't trust them. You're literally making the point for us. This man's so stupid. This man's so dumb. Like, he's literally making the point for us. You can't trust them. You have to put pressure off them off the bat. because otherwise they'll do these crappy policies that they said they wouldn't do. It was always transferable. Okay, so that makes sense. Okay, thanks for that, Emma. I don't need my brain. True.
Yeah.
That was actually in the manifesto, in the 97 manifesto.
So
and they got in, and within a year, we had tuition fees. I was the last year without tuition fees in 1997.
Okay, boomer.
Yeah, I see. I get I see what you're getting at, but again, like I feel like this isn't the time.
So, this is based in emotion here. This is not based in fact or reality. I feel. That's a debate tactic. When you say things like I feel, it's harder to combat because you can make a point that's not as sensible, and you're attacking a person's feelings, which is something they hold on to more dear than, say, an idea. So it's a debate tactic, this.
Time to do this. I think the time right now is just to, fire on all phases, get the Tories out of government and destroy them. This is all,
because that's all they care about. This is what they want to sow, the destruction of the Tory party. More than anything else, that is what they care about. And that's what I mean. They're not thinking. These are people who don't see a second move. All they do is go for their first move, and that's it. After that, they hit and hope. These guys are not TCG players. These guys are not pros at any kind of game where it takes skill, because they would know. You got to plan out a few moves ahead. They haven't done that. Phil does a lot of feel. I hope. I feel. I think. Think is lesser, but I hope. Is that
a once in a generation, once in a lifetime opportunity to destroy the Tory party. They're never going to be on their knees like they are right now. And I'm not one of these people who says, when they go low, you go. I'm saying, if they go low, freaking kick them really hard. Definitely in the head. Emma in the super chat.
I mean, again, that's fine and all, but all you're going to do is, what I'd rather see is the Conservative Party have to fight with the Reform Party for votes and stuff like that, and them to eat each other, or rather than the Tory party get absolutely decimated and all the momentum goes behind Reform or another right-wing party. It was never real STV for London, as all candidates that finished third or lower were eliminated on block instead of on. Okay, trust in our betters. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Femi. Love you, mate, but now's not the time. That's what I just said. Get Labour in, see what they do, and then fight for the next election. Starmer is a decent guy. That's from Emma.
Yeah, the Reform Party is a fash. Yes, splitting the right-wing vote is genuinely what we need, because the centre-left vote is very split. The centre-left to left-wing vote is split. The centre-right to right-wing vote is not split. That's what we need to do, split the vote.
Talked about you got to fight from the inside, and I tried.
I've just realised Femi's button, his thing is kind of bent, and that's really annoying me now.
I tried. I joined the Labour Party. I got kicked out. I tried to join again. They wouldn't let me.
Have you thought about Have you thought about reapplying with a different birth date and a different address?
I'm sure I'll just sneak right under the radar.
That's what I did.
That sounds a bit dodgy. That maybe that's something the Labour Party should really look up to. A Lib Dems of the right. I don't know what that would mean.
Anyway, yeah.
Graham and Phil cannot offer enough hopium to vote Labour. Offer me enough. I don't know. They've got a lot of it. Staffordshire POC police. What? What's POC? Bear with. I'm just trying to navigate this technical thing. Dropped from 20% to 8%.
I mean, so
what's that about? The Staffordshire POC.
We've both been officially kicked out of the Labour Party, haven't we? I'm back. You can't get rid of me that easily. I remember at the 20...
Again, why is he bringing this up? It's so dumb.
I'd like all the same rights that I had when I was a member, please.
Ha 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 ha. I'm just going to go make jokes to minimum wage employees.
But yeah, do you feel like it's helping being so critical of Starmer and calling him a liar and saying that you...
It's literally true. I don't know why he's got such an issue. Police commissioners. I don't get why he's got such an issue with calling Starmer a liar when he's objectively a liar.
Can't trust him and all this kind of stuff.
I think
we literally can't.
That because I don't trust him, for me, my biggest fear is that we'll all basically have this attitude of elections are just for Christmas, and that once we've...
Facts, 100% facts. This is what happened under Biden a little bit. At the start, they saw it as elections are just for Christmas. They voted in Biden. They thought everything was going to be okay. And everything is not okay.
Finally got the Tories out. Finally, after years of everything they've done, everyone will breathe such a big sigh of relief that we'll just
Lol. Okay, chatty. That was a bit mean.
let Starmer get away with murder. I need.
Sorry, guys. My throat is completely crocked.
Needs to be a united front that says no, we need change now, and that's why I want to get people angry with the fact that he has been saying the wrong thing for so long, so that when we do so that we can hit the ground running.
But I mean, again, like I say, I think that the situation on the ground has changed before we hit it running in the last few years, especially because of COVID more than anything else, I guess. But also, yeah, Brexit coming in.
Maybe he does criticise Starmer a little bit. He has done, I've heard him say it, but it's not like he does it during part of the live stream. Do I have any lozenges? No, I don't, but I should probably get some, honestly, because I probably do need it.
The headaches of that. And I'm more of the opinion that...
Our opinion?
I'm willing to give Starmer the benefit of the doubt, which was something that I...
So is that something he gave to Jeremy Corbyn? Or did he actively run against the Labour candidate in his area over Brexit? Which one do you think?
Was told time and time again to give Corbyn, and I did.
No, you didn't, because you ran against the Labour candidate in your area. You ran against him. You didn't give him the benefit of the doubt.
I gave Corbyn the benefit of the doubt right up to the point where...
You didn't, though.
He did a free-line whip to activate Article 50 without any...
Oh, so you drew a red line. Oh, okay. So if it's okay for you to draw a red line in the sand when he does something you disagree with, if that's okay, why can't other people do it?
Amendments or provisos or anything to protect British citizens living in the EU and EU citizens living here. He jumped into the dark, holding hands with Theresa May into a chasm and pulled the rest of the UK in with him. And I was like, you didn't need to do that. He was the opposition.
Okay, cool. Starmer didn't have to back a genocide. He's the opposition. Or at least, actually, yeah, he's a human being, meant to be a human rights lawyer. He didn't have to back a genocide. So, if it's okay for you to draw a line in the sand, why is it not okay for anyone else?
No need for that free line whip at all.
This lot are so dumb. They're so dumb, right? They don't get it. They're so dumb. Like, they can draw more moral red lines in the sand, right? Moral lines in the sand, and say, oh, I'm not going to back you anymore because of this. But no one else can.
As a big FU to people like you and me who were like, hang on, this is going to be awful.
And he took it personally.
Awful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just Brexit. It's all he has. Yeah.
And we were told to give Corbyn the bet. I had people in my ear saying, just go softly with Corbyn. Don't piss him off too much. Give him the benefit of the doubt. He's got a plan. He'll come around in the end. And in the end, he came around way too slowly. And that's very much where I'm at with this. I need people fired up. I need people within the Labour Party, outside the Labour Party. I want there to be. You've heard me say this before. I want to be the case that Keir Starmer can't get through a single interview as Prime Minister without somebody saying, So Starmer, why do you believe the majority of British votes shouldn't count? I want that question on a regular...
Again, he is smoking it absolutely. Like, he's just doing so well here. His facts, again.
...basis. I don't want
that's going to happen, though, realistically. Again... I mean,
he just said, I want it to happen. It doesn't have to be realistic, but he's saying this is one of the things he wants people to put pressure on.
Is it really, like, what people are going to be... Oh, my God, he didn't ask a question about PR. Like, it feels to me like a politics thing, like us, politics blogs like ourselves.
That topic is growing. We're seeing it on Question Time, if not every week, every other week. It is growing.
I don't know about that. I think I'm going to have to hit him with a...
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Sorry, Femi.
Yeah, but even so, I mean, I see that as something down the line. I don't see it as something that we need necessarily to demand of Labour to put into the manifesto this time. Although there's a part of me that just thinks they're going to win this election anyway. I'd go mad. I'd put loads of stuff.
That's the whole point, you dummy.
I'd just put anything I wanted in the manifesto because we're going to win. But I've also
could just stick PR in there. They could stick it in the back pages if they wanted to, under something to do with voter reform. That's it.
In the back of my mind that, if Murdoch, the 100-year-old person who's born 1,000...
I think Murdoch's influence at this point is very overrated.
Miles away, who decides what everyone in this country thinks for some reason. If he decides to go after Starmer, I mean, they might have dirt on the whole Labour front bench that we don't know about. That they're just holding on to.
That is a fear that I've had.
So if that's the case, then they're going to say to Labour, look, we've got all of this dirt on you. You best be listening to what we say, dog, or else. It's a completely pathetic argument. If they've got dirt, they would release it, or they're going to use it for blackmail. So if they have something, they're going to use it. So, you know, best to get it out of the way now, especially if you think Labour are going to guarantee to win.
I'm well aware that as you said, they might have dirt. They might be waiting to pull up some scandal on him, some new curry that he went to, or some stuff like that. But also,
You don't go to a curry, bruv. You eat curry.
it's the argument of like Owen Jones was making the argument that it's safe to not vote Labour because the Tories are never going to win. The more people he convinces that that's the case, the less true that becomes.
That is true, and that's something to be wary of. But at the same time, it's Labour have to shore up that side of the party. They have to shore up that wing of politics, and they're not doing that, and that's a gap on their part.
Are you? So you're not going down that route. Would you tell people to vote for Labour in a constituency where they will beat the Tories if everyone votes for?
Sorry, would I tell people to vote for Labour in a constituency where Labour is the only option to beat the Tories?
Yes.
Probably.
Probably.
I wouldn't ram it down their throats. But my
Oh, I wonder who does stuff like that. I wonder which group of people does stuff like that.
issue is that I will.
I wonder who says, you know, if you criticise Labour, you're a Tory enabler. I wonder who those people are.
just make sure that everybody is aware of what the tactical voting choice should be. But I cannot bring myself to say you must vote Labour if people have got such strong views on what Starmer has done in the last 3 years.
Do you think that there could be anyone in the Labour Party who could be sort of whiter than white and be able to, you know,
Clive Lewis. Let's go, Clive Lewis.
basically navigate this minefield into power in this environment, in this social media and, you know, press-driven world where literally everyone who's in the Tory party either used to work for a newspaper or is going to work for a newspaper. This revolving door that we have at the media. You've got Ofcom.
Scary Sarah, what did you say? Well, I'm done with this. LOL, I'm not equipped for this. Geez, this is the person Sarah thinks she is right now. Sarah thinks she landed the big three from cross court. Oof. Oh, that's hilarious. Thanks for pointing that one out. I didn't even see that.
Telling, you know, GBB's off.
Sarah, don't go. Keep fighting. Oh, Sarah's not tough enough. You think you're going to be able to put pressure on Starmer? You can even handle a live stream between two people who had, you know, amicable disagreements, and you're going to be able to put pressure on Starmer, despite the fact that they talked about not uprooting benefits and things like that, not getting rid of the 2-child gap, and you're going to put pressure on Starmer. All right then.
12 times with absolutely no sanctions whatsoever, except you're a very naughty boy. I mean, this environment that we're in, who in Labour do you think would do a better job than what Starmer's done, especially given the 20-point lead?
Again, we've debunked the poll lead many times here. It's the Tories are giving it to them. You know, that's even what John Curtis said as well. Which I say, Professor John Curtis, you know, a guy who's actually credentialed, versus a bunch of people who are not credentialed.
The polls.
So in terms of navigating the not stepping on any landmines that Tripp set off the Daily Mail, who I think is better. Well, on the issue of voting reform, Clive Lewis is obviously the champion there. But as for just...
Sorry about that, it was my brother opening the door for the cat. He loves the cat. Everyone does.
The idea that it's such a hard thing, give them the benefit of the doubt that they're doing their best. I don't... You and I have been in this long enough to just have ample reason to not trust a single one of these people. Like, if you look at the fact that they even voted for the referendum, as you said, the fact that they could have been loud about where the Tories were going to take us with Brexit from day one.
Some of them joined us on you know, some of us joined us on the bollocks to Brexit bus, or, you know, on the stages at the rallies and the marches. They were saying this is wrong, but they just didn't have the leadership behind them.
Some of them did, yes, but enough of
And
them.
where are they now?
And in the cabinet, Angela Rayner wasn't with us. Starmer joined around about January 2019, but that's still years after he should have done. I was
Oh yeah, a moral champion joining years after he should do.
begging him to. The first time I met him was in 2018. I think it was April in UCL, and he'd actually heard of me at that point, which shocked me. But he was. I tried to argue with him that, look, you're supporting a version of Brexit that Brexit voters do not want. They don't want a soft Brexit because that means following the rules of the EU, but without having a say, and they want to take back control. That means less control, and you're going to make people still poorer still. And his position was, look, we're just trying to get a compromise. That's a compromise. So he was taking the party line. He could have
He was saying compromise. Now there's no compromise.
been loud from day one. He chose not to be. And this applies
He
to
wanted to keep his spot in the shadow cabinet. That's why.
so many of them.
But
So
would
as
he
far as-
have got so far in the party if he had been loud about it? I mean, he could have lost the whip.
I mean, he wouldn't have lost the whip. I think there were other. You just said there were people on the bus with you who were saying bollocks to Brexit, right? So why would he have lost the whip if he was going to do that? He would have lost his spot in the shadow cabinet potentially, but why would he have lost the whip? And if he doesn't have the moral courage to do the right thing because of fear of losing the whip, then what kind of pathetic person is he at that point?
It was a three-line whip. You know, it was only because Corbyn was quite a weak leader that he didn't actually sack the MPs who
So okay, he could have done it then,
abstained or voted against it.
because those MPs actually had guts, whereas Starmer didn't.
Yeah, this is the thing. I don't have any sympathy for that argument. You are in that privileged position that no other people in the country get to be in. You don't get to do the wrong thing to protect your job. If you're not going to do the right thing in that job, somebody else will.
That's politics, isn't it? Who's going to do the right thing? People thought that...
The ones who defied the whip. The ones who defied the whip did the right thing, evidently.
Corbyn did the right thing, but I don't think he did. I think he did entirely the wrong thing and then changed his mind at the last minute when it was way too late. And now we get the blame as Remainers. Oh, it's only because Corbyn changed his mind on Europe. That's why
Anyone who makes that argument, I don't think they're worth listening to.
he lost the election. I'm like, he lost the election because he was the most unpopular leader of a political movement in the world at the
Speaking of unpopularity, Starmer is not that popular.
time. That's why he lost the election. And if you'd had a look at the Best for Britain polling that was done in the summer of 2019, he would have seen it and gone, oh crap, Tories are going to win a bloody landslide here. Which they did, unfortunately. Damien, thank you very much for the super chat. Hang on, where's the chat?
Yeah, it's gonna wrap up soon. So if you guys got any super chats, drop or memberships, go for it. If not, we've got about a few minutes left of this, and then I'll probably call it a day.
There it is. What will the Tory press say when?
Yeah, Labour's membership was bigger, but you know, as a leader, as a politician, he was deeply, deeply unpopular.
Labour extend the vote to 16-year-olds.
They're not going to do that. They're going to watch them back out of that one. Watch them back out of that.
Forward to. I'm also looking forward to reform of the House of Lords.
They're not going to do that. They've ruled out reform of the House of Lords. So.
Starmer wanted to get rid of the House of Lords, but it doesn't look like that's going to be possible. But what the Tories have done is an absolute, again, a number on our democratic processes, but also on our undemocratic processes, because by putting 29-year-olds nobodies in the House of Lords, it's completely undermined it as, you know, a sensible upper chamber.
It was never really a sensible upper chamber, like, for the most part. It's just a way of rewarding donors, and like people have done like big things in the country, and like big businessmen and tycoons and stuff. You know, the really wealthy people. You know, like, so it was never democratic. It was never a good system in the first place.
Or, you know, part of our legislature. I mean, he put the son of a KGB agent in there. And Ian Botham, who's only famous for once accidentally tweeting a picture of his own cock. That happened. Anyway.
Tony Blair made Mandelson a lord.
In response to the super chat about what's the super chat again?
Which one? The one that I just said. What will the Tory press say when Labour extend the vote to 16-year-olds?
That's a great question.
Yeah, so the Tories aren't even being, like, when I say Tories, Conservatives at large are not being subtle about this. They have said that things like PR, things like extending the vote to 16-year-olds will be the end of the Conservative Party. Like, you had, what was his name?
Yeah. I don't think the vote to 16-year-olds will do that much, because younger people, like, even the ones at 18 don't vote a ton.
That Lord Paul...
Botham was a good cricketer, to be fair.
Oh, come on. No, I've lost it. But there was a Tory lord that was saying majority conservative government would be a thing of the past if Labour did this. You had Dominic Raab saying that if Labour gets into power, they'll give...
Yeah, I reckon they're going to U-turn on the 16, 17-year-olds, I think.
There's one referendum on Scottish independence and another referendum on electoral reform. That threat is real, and we will face it at the next election. So they're scared of PR. You had even Andrew Neil saying that proportional...
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, he said that.
...representation would end the Conservative
Andrew Neil, I mean.
Party. It's
I still can't believe that person went, It's actually so funny.
Hilarious how much they just widely admitting that if you give people fair votes across all adult ages, then the Tories are finished.
Yes, which sounds great to me. But yeah, I mean, we've got to go because we've got another date, mate. We're supposed to be on Twitter.
Yes, we do.
To stop the Tories. I'm going to put the link into the chat here. So if you want to, we'll continue. This is going to be like the end of Blazing Saddles, where they continue the fight.
I don't know why he didn't put the link in the description. I don't know what the thing is, but if you look at the comments here, do you know what we got? Let's go for a few moments. I don't disagree with Femi, but in most minds they're not. I mean, that's your job though as a politician. You're meant to link it. You're meant to link it and actually make them understand this. Let's see. Femi's starting to sound a lot like Owen Jones lately. This guy, Countdown to Power, not a guy I actually have any respect for. People like me are literally struggling to eat, which is that is sad. That is the reality for a lot of people. To be honest, I'm all for PR, but we need to get a break period of calm. But again, like, how are Labour going to fix the issues specifically that you have? This is a person who I've spoken to before, and he goes he'd prefer Labour austerity to Tory austerity. So I was like, okay then. And as people point out, Labour isn't going to help you. I genuinely hope that Labour delivers for you, etc., etc. Fair play, Femi. I like and agree with what he said. Most of what he said. I mean, that's true because Femi was cooking. Graham giving Femi a cordial pass for saying the same things Owen Jones was saying. We don't see an argument. We want to see a civilised discussion. Again, the reason why he criticised Owen Jones is because Owen Jones backed Corbyn. The reason why he's given Femi a pass now is because he can't argue against anything Femi has said here. Just like he couldn't argue anything against Owen Jones was saying. Let's see what else is there. Listen to this. I'm sticking to voting Green. Great stuff. Citizens' assemblies. Speaking as a boomer, the 2019 choice between Johnson and Corbyn, whichever of those two got in, the result was going to be disastrous. I mean, that's complete cap. That's complete nonsense argument. Thank you for Emma Etherington with the super chat. Thank you for this. I really appreciate it. Yeah, no worries. Let's celebrate their first. How do I do that? It says let's celebrate their first super chat on the live stream, and there's no way. Okay, me clicking this does it. Okay, thank you for the super chat. Let's see. Is there anything else? As a person that wasn't suitable as a potential occupant, I wouldn't agreed with all of Jump Dog. I mean, to be fair, this is a garbage comment. Femi talks twaddle, fine partner to O Jones. And that's not really true. If people had got strong views on what Starmer has done, many of their views they are shaped by charismatic anti-Starmer influencers peddling distortions. They must be talking about no justice. They must be talking about no justice here. It must be. There must be. I get old Labour fans quoting Daily Mail headlines to me about what Keir has done and said. No, I mean, to be fair, this is probably cap as well. Regarding the SNP and Femi saying they can't be trusted, depends on your right. Depend what your view is regarding the right thing. That's true. Is there anything else? Most like anyone about Starmer's pro bono work. It's like anyone aspiring to be a high-ranking legal professional in the public service needs to have a number of boxes ticked for CV, which is true. Saying got scholarships here. You've gone to be a lawyer in the city if you only wanted money. That's probably true, actually. It depends what he what specific kind of law expertise we're in. Excuse me. Didn't Graham stand for the Lib Dems? He did. I mean, this person here.
My sources that I made it the fuck up.
Brian Ferguson talking nonsense. Wow, Roshin saying the United Kingdom is finished. Don't respect that. The Weimar Republic in Germany had a PR system. It led to the proliferation of small parties and a weak. This is not actually true. Some of this is true, but it wasn't down to just the proportional representation system. It actually worked. The Weimar government actually worked up until the crash, the Great Depression. So this argument of the indecisive coalition governments, it was only because of, I think it was Hindenburg. I think it was him at the time, gave Hitler a ridiculous amount of leeway and way too much respect during that time. So making the again, this is probably the most revisionist historical take I've ever seen in my life, considering that it was down to the Great Depression. It was the Great Depression that caused a lot of Germany's kind of push towards extremism pre-World War II. So this is garbage. This is a garbage take. The idea that first past the post is the bulwark against extremism. I guess the Tory party aren't extreme then. There's a lot of replies on this. Let's see. Again, the Germany still has a PR system, so again, it's not really true. I feel like you stopped short of making your point. I didn't. I mean, this guy's a complete clown. Whoops. What is this stuff? Oh, it's code. Go away. This guy here. This guy might be. He's not the clown. He's the entire circus. Honestly, Carl Stone, 6011. 6011. I'd be embarrassed if I were you, pal. Yeah, there's not much more to say about this. I guess another debate review in the books. Roshi in the commentator seems familiar. Yeah, I've seen this person before. Benefit of doubt until it's time for an election. Let's see. Bloody Hindenburg. I think it was Hindenburg. I could be wrong. He couldn't make decent balloons. I swear, was it Hindenburg? First past the post allows extremist parties. Yeah, I mean it does because it's the largest parties. All you have to do is infiltrate them. Yeah, it was. I thought so. See, my German history is not washed. I still remember stuff, some of the important stuff from before. Heisenberg is obviously the guy from Breaking Bad. Hindenburg is the politician. It's also, I think he was seen as a great German war leader as well. It's one of the reasons why he had some respect. Hindenburg party went down in. That's rude. That is rude. Zeppelins aren't balloons. Anyways, guys, I think I'll wrap it for today. To be fair, I'm going to stay with my friend near Brighton. So if any of you live in Brighton, let me know. But other than that, I've got a new laptop, so I've still got a couple of bits and pieces I need to do on it, but I'll be able to do content from my laptop, so that should be good. Let's see, what else? Got some anesthetic lozenges for you. Yeah, get them in the post, mate. I'm gonna need those. What else? What should I say? So yeah, expect some content, some more content. Hopefully stuff that's more up to date. But the problem is I've got a backlog to clear as well, which sucks. I hate having to clear backlog. New laptop, even more tabs can be. Yes, actually, because it's the MacBook Pro 16 gig version. So yes, I can actually open more tabs, more power, more metabots. So you're not wrong. I can open more tabs. It's near Brighton, but I'll be at the beach, so I'm hoping the weather's better than it's been for the last couple of days. This cold snap's a real downer. Anything else? Let's see. All right, I guess we'll call it a day there. Probably stream. I'll let you guys know about a midweek stream. I might do it during the day though. Might do it during the day because my friend's actually gonna be at work, so I can stream during the day. But the only problem is I have to think of topics and stuff. Plus my setup down there's gonna be washed. But anyways, thanks everyone joining. Thank you for the super chats. You're very generous today. I do appreciate it. I'll probably do more debate reviews as well because it's fairly easy to do as long as I've watched it beforehand. So if there's any other debates you want me to review, just let me know in a comment somewhere with like the name of the video so I can find it. And yeah, I'll have a review of it. Just make sure it's like a decent review, not like a degenerate one. And yeah, I'll catch you guys at some point next week. Bye bye.